Mother-in-law complained about my new baby daughter's name and started insult her during a visit. So I had to kick her out of my house. Both me, 28F, and my husband, 30M, are from Latin America. We moved to the UK shortly after we had our eldest, 5M. Our daughter, who turns 1 in April, was born here. My mother-in-law, 60s, and my husband's older brother, 37M, neither of whom have met our daughter before, are flying over for her birthday. BIL wanted to get a hotel room for himself, and MIL doesn't speak any English, so we decided to have her stay at our place instead of leaving her alone in a foreign country. Years ago, when I was pregnant with my son, my husband and I made the mistake of revealing his name to our families. My MIL spent the next months complaining about it. She'd send us lists of name suggestions, look up bad historical figures with the same name as the one we'd chosen, and just generally say it was awful. She didn't stop until our son was born, and the name was on his birth certificate. So for my second pregnancy, we decided to keep our daughter's name a secret until after her birth. We figured that not knowing her name until it was unchangeable would stop MIL from complaining. We were wrong. Our daughter's name is Cecilia. Minutes after she was born, my MIL called my husband and asked, "You know Cecilia means blind, right?" Almost a year later, she hasn't stopped complaining. If it's not because of the meaning, it's because it's ugly, long, or an old lady name. There have been occasions in which my husband sent pictures of her to his family's group chat, and his mom replied with stuff like, "How cute. Too bad her name is Cecilia." It genuinely feels like my daughter is being bullied. Whenever we talk to my MIL, which has been happening less and less lately for this exact reason, she has a new complaint. Up until now, the main reason I was able to, kind of, tune it out was because she hadn't complained to us in person or in front of our children. But she'll be here in less than 2 weeks, and I'm absolutely certain she'll continue her crusade at our home. I don't want to hear it, I don't want my son to hear it, and I don't want my baby's first birthday to be ruined by grandma's bitching. So a couple months ago, my husband and I called his mom. We told her she could no longer stay with us, and to ask BIL to help her get a hotel room. We also told her the reasons behind our decision. MIL cried on the phone, and has called us several times since. She always either apologizes, calls us dramatic, or accuses us of alienating her from her grandkids. Throughout all this, she continues to insist she has the right to dislike our daughter's name, and still hasn't booked a hotel room. My BIL agrees she's being a dick, but is upset we told her she can no longer stay at our place. He's accusing us of forcing an elderly woman to stay alone in a foreign country, even though we're perfectly capable of housing her. He's also mad that after promising for months that MIL could stay at our house, we're retracting our offer. This whole situation has been exhausting, and I'm starting to worry I might be overreacting. Relevant comments. On OOP's relationship with her MIL. Besides this problem, we have an okay relationship with her. Could be better, but it's way less awful than many of my friends' MILs. That said, she's always had the tendency of complaining. Even before we had kids, we knew she'd complain about whatever names we picked. We just didn't know how bad it would be. NTA. She made the decisions that lead to this. You're not making her do anything, and it's not like the UK is a war zone. Her safety is not at risk. I agree that safety wouldn't be much of a concern, but I also agree that being alone in a foreign country you've never visited without knowing the language can be fucking terrifying. Who is paying for the trip? MIL's paying for her plane ticket, BIL is paying for his. He's also helping her cover some expenses, but she's paying for most of her stuff. NTA. And now I'm curious about your son's name if she take offense to Cecilia. Enrique, we call him Henry. But it doesn't matter. We could name our kids after her, and she'd still complain. Update 1. Hey everyone. It's been a while since I posted, so I want to give you an update. I'll try to be brief. For the next couple of weeks after my first post, MIL continued her attempts to convince us to let her stay with us, but still refused to book a hotel room. My husband and I decided to speak with BIL again. He told us that the main reason why he wanted to get a hotel room for himself was to explore the city on his own, but could understand why we didn't want MIL to stay with us anymore. Eventually, he agreed to help her get a different room at the hotel he'd stay in. From what I gather, he also spent the weeks leading up to the visit telling his mother that if she tried complaining about Cecilia's name at any point, he would call a taxi to send her back to the hotel. Cecilia's birthday went off without a hitch, except for the fact that MIL immediately tried to give her a nickname. For a few hours, she kept calling her Lila. She was doing so behind our backs, and my husband and I didn't realize it until our son came to ask us if Grandma knew Cece's name. My BIL offered to call the taxi, but we decided to brush it off. Later, my husband pulled MIL aside and said that if she ever tried to complain about either of our children again, she wouldn't get to visit us anymore. She behaved herself until she and BIL flew back home, and we haven't heard any complaints from her since. I'm very satisfied with this outcome, though I'm still worried she will complain about my kids again in the future. I now know that we have my husband's brother by our side, which will greatly help us navigate our relationship with their mother. Also, kudos to those who brought up Simon and Garfunkel's Cecilia. Though I love that one, our girl was actually named after a song by Brazilian singer Chico Buarque. I couldn't find a video with English subtitles. Thank you for reassuring me I wasn't overreacting. I wish you all well. Relevant comments. Moving forward, I'm pretty confident things will get better after all this. Their visit went perfectly fine, besides the whole Lila thing, and I think she got the message that she won't get any more chances if she tries to complain again. Subscribe and like for more videos.